ago, I talked about the role of the thumb, and I discussed the thumb descending in the right hand in detail. And it always seems when I'm working with students, whether they're doctoral students, teachers, high school kids, there's always something where we have to clarify the thumb. So I put a lot of thought, like I say, into this, and I think that it will help you answer a lot of questions, talking about the mindfulness of how comfortable you can feel at the piano. Thumb improves velocity with the Taubman approach. The thumb is often the most important finger. It starts the music playing. In passages, it leads off. Major, Opus 28, number 2, dedicated to Clara. The thumb always uses the support of the forearm and rotation. Dorothy always spoke of the unit. The unit is active fingers that work as a team. You can try it, flexing, lifting, and dropping. And the hand, the link, and the forearm. Just feel the unity of that. The unit, as she called it, okay? She used to say, like a cheerleader, and laugh. So the thumb never moves by itself in an isolated way. The anatomy of the thumb. The thumb rotates with the adductor and abductor muscles. It also uses flexor and extensor muscles. So, fingers like to flex and use flexor and extensor muscles. Thumb likes to also, but when the thumb flexes, look where it goes. It wants to hide under the palm. When it extends, it feels like it needs a little bit of relaxation. For its abductor and adductor muscles are its favorite ones. So the abductors, as you can see here in the diagram, abductors are going to stretch you, and they are on the outer side of the red going toward your wrist, and the adductor is in the fleshy part. Fingers also use abductor and adductors, but when you try those muscles of stretching, try, and releasing, almost crowding, those are not the favorite ones, okay? They exist, but as soon as you let them relax, so to speak, back to the normal shape of your hand, it feels better. Anatomy. The thumb has 3 joints. What? The thumb is the different finger. Why did I say what? We're going to get to it. The first joint, as you can see, is near the tip of the nail. The second joint is part of the palm. And the third, often forgotten, is at the base of Now, a doctor might refer to these joints as phalange, okay, as you can see in the diagram. So fingers also have them. The nail joint is the way Dorothy referred to it, the middle joint, and the main. Try it. And remember, your fingers fall together. They like to. It's a very important concept. So now I'm going to get to the details of that. How many of you were always thinking that your thumb had two joints? Many times, yes. Nothing to be embarrassed about. So I want to talk about those three joints. So the first one is actually called, in my book, the dip. It's the distal interphalangeal joint, DIP. And you could say that it dips to the keyboard. Then the middle one is the metacarpal phalangeal. Okay? And we could call it the mid because it really is in the middle. Okay? And the third one, the often forgotten one, is actually medically called the carpo-metacarpal joint. Now, we'll refer to it as the carpal pal. Anybody here heard of the word carpal? Many. And you know why? It's one of the biggest injuries and bad feelings for pianists. And we're going to get to why. Okay? So let's go to a little bit more detail before we play. All three of these joints should feel that they move as one. Try it. You're not at a piano, but just try feeling that as I do this rotation, I see that my forearm is active. Yes? Okay. As you did that, did you see that your thumb could only move toward middle C, kind of thing? That's the nature of it. So the pal is the principal joint for the thumb's motion. So think of opening from this CMC or pal joint. It's there that the thumb connects to the wrist bones. The two bones are the radius, which rolls, R and R, and the ulna, which gives our pinky a lot of tone with this unit behind it. So, we now know about the bone structure. And we're going to see that if we try to pass the thumb under the palm, it just doesn't feel good. Try it. Okay? And then, not only keep it there, try to put your four fingers down. It's constricting, isn't it? Take the thumb away and let the four fingers just be in flight. Isn't that a different feeling? Okay. So, we could say that we're almost ready to see everything else, but as we go through the basics, I just want to point out that if you play octaves or chords, that in this unit, it's very important that you're going to feel that your main height for octave or chord is going to be the wrist connection. And you can see there's a flow here. I'm not falling. And I have to comb out my knuckles. So, as I finish, in the air, I'm not locking. Not, okay? Because the hand is dying to have the natural posture. Let's go back to some basics. We're going to play the perfect fifth with 1 and 5. The natural thumb and hand posture resembles the posture of when your arm hangs freely. Take a look at your arm next to you. There's a natural shape that gives gravity and balance. The hand placement is naturally over 5 keys. So I'm bringing my hand up, and I'm going to figure that for my perfect fifth, I'm going to play C and D, not in front of my body for now, I'll explain why. I'm going to play it right here. So I brought my hand up, I did nothing to the long fingers, I just let my hand rest over 5 keys. Okay? Now, I want to say something. There's a new concept here, probably for many of you, that as I play here, I'm straight with myself. I must remain straight with myself no matter where I play the perfect fifth. Now, as you notice that I'm straight with the keys. Well, that took a little doing. Why? Is because humans like to supinate. If I stand up, or you want to stand up to see this, I'm tipping toward my pinky. Well, that's us. Okay? The ape family pronates. We supinate. So when you come up to those 5 notes, you go over the 5 keys, your hand might do this. Okay? So all you have to do is not blame the hand. You see, we have a unit, and the base of the unit is the elbow. So all I have to do is say, I guess my elbow is too close to my torso. What should it? Now it's great. If you play not straight over the keys, you're asking for trouble. Okay? So you have to be straight over the keys. So here's something new for those of you who are not familiar with Mrs. Taubman's work. If I want to play that perfect fifth up an octave, so I would rotate almost like I'm going to shake hands with the piano, and then I'm going to go. Am I in the same key spots? No, because you see, they're different heights of fingers. So here, my thumb is closer to me, 5 closer to the fold. And as I just went up 1 octave, they shifted key spots slightly. And when I went all the ways up to play here, obviously my whole body is behind, straight with me, not with the piano, but straight with me. And I have different key spots. And coming back home. And then I said to you, I'll explain why Mrs. Taubman was really more accepting the thought that you want to be straight with yourself, because if you play middle C, although there's a lot of beginner books starting there, you have to move your whole torso back a little bit. And you can see, again, the placement is almost as though you would have your hand just come up to the keys. As I go here and cross over, I have a higher level here and different key spots. I'm going to do it for the left hand. So again, I would be doing my left hand here, and then as I come in, I could also be there comfortably, but here I need to lean back, and you see the different key spots, very important. And you see straight again with the key. The thumb is a free ally. It avoids the tuck, as I said, in passage work. The tuck restricts movements, the flexibility of the fingers, and it inhibits speed. This makes the fingers feel limited, and the thumb under is a common cause for injury, and it prevents velocity and speed. I know when I was learning, as a youngster, we were told to tuck our thumb. Okay? So before we get to the basic scale, how comfortable are you with putting your thumb under 2? Yes or no?
Yes.
Thanks. Yeah. So now what happens when I get toward 3? Is it a great, delicious feeling, like she'd say? No. Okay. So by the time I get to 3, it starts to feel like, again, my base joint here, okay, the POW, is not comfortable. And 4, no. Okay, it's like it's really crowded and cramped. Okay? And that has to do with our adductor muscle and the abductor muscle. Okay? So let's take a look at how we could do the scale without the tuck. And this is really being condensed because this is a topic in itself that could be many, many hours. But the thumb is free with rotational patterns. So in this exercise, and this is typical, it begins at middle C. All I'm going to do for now is move it up 1, but as I said, all you have to do is lean your torso back a little and not try to deviate here in your wrist and twist. Okay? We're going to get to the exact precision of that in a moment. So for the scale, if I begin here, I'm looking here in the right hand, and we're talking about the thumb. So on the ascend, where are my thumbs? I have one on do, right? And I have one on fa. So for single rotation and in a scale, obviously, to be able to play, I need a preparatory swing. This is the sport of playing. Try it. It's like I want to play my thumb, but it's like I flip a pancake. Okay? So we need a little prep swing. This is the sport of playing. Who can name a sport that has a prep swing? Anybody?
Tennis.
Excellent. Tennis. Another?
Golf.
Ping pong. Golf. Volleyball. You name it. Okay. But we have to learn the sport of playing. So what I like to do with the thumb is remember that I have a prep swing, and this is my single rotation would be left-right. So I'm going to do the prep swing, and then I'm going to do left-right, so I'm going to do thumb and two. And when I finish on two, remember I want to be straight over the keys. So the prep and the thumb kind of roll with the flow, okay? They keep moving. So here I have prep, left, right. Okay? I'll do a little faster. Okay? And it feels really like so, like I said, the velocity is there. So now, the next way to advance in the scale is to do the next thumb. Simply put. So I'm even going to do it silently. What's that showing? That's showing how important the forearm is. It's a lateral feeling for us, like the glissando, okay? We can't be frigid and tight about this. So I'm going to now play them both. And if I do that as a teacher and show my students, wow, they're like, wow, that was so fast. And I have to tap my fingers. They have to be very lively. That's the heart and soul of our equipment. So now I'm going to say, any other thumbs on the accent? No? Okay. Now I'm going to do, isn't that easy? Okay? So I did the two thumbs, finish straight, finish straight. What's left is the pentascale. Okay? So I really am talking about thumbs, so I'm really not going to get into that, but I want to just make sure that you can see that I could do it also on the left hand. Look, here's my prep. Okay? It's almost like you're shaking hands with the piano. CB, and where's the next one? So far. See? Even faster. That's the secret of the unit. That's not moving with the fingers alone. So, as I do, now, okay? Feels really free, okay? So, on that descend, just to show you, if I'm going to do it over here, I have to figure out again, where's my thumb? Well, it's a different thing. It's like open a door, shut a door. So as I'm going down, I don't have the thumb yet. These are double rotations because they're going the same direction, to the left, Thumb is a double. And after the thumb is a little trill, single rotation. And the thumb is again a double. So, it helps to know what note you're going to be playing. But as you play this scale, again, I'm thinking groups. Okay? And the same thing here. You can see where I am. I'm not stuck over my thumb note. And then I have Next, we're not going to leave that thumb behind. So this is what I wanted to show you. As I'm going through the descending scale, after I played my thumb, and then what I call the trill, because basically any note after a thumb is in the opposite direction. That's just our anatomy. Look where my thumb is now. It already released magically from fa to do. Again, from do to fa. I can't stop it. It's like it's an instigator. It gives us that velocity that we always worry about. Okay? So, the flexible thumb plays and releases to be near the fingers. So as I'm going down, my thumb is already trying to be friends with the fingers. Okay? So then, you're going to see that there was a little bit more of the forearm alignment going up for the tallest finger, and then the thumb easily can play. If I don't do that, I feel like my thumb again has to tuck and lock. Okay? So it's all about different sizes. It's like the father, the mother, and 2 kids, and then the thumb. Okay? Get it. If you've ever had a dog, he wants to be part of the family. But the thumb is really the missing link. So now I want to get to a piece of music that's going to require going from a white note to a black note. So the thumb requires a tiny adjustment of what's called a forward shift. So remember when we were talking about 3 joints, that we said that the thumb could be kind of tall, and it really doesn't play sitting on the joint. It doesn't. If you sit on the joint, look what happens to the rest of my unit. I fall in the wrist. Uh-oh. Okay? I've broken my unity. So here, I have to make sure when I'm going to be playing that there's a tiny, what we call forward shift, and I'll show it to you, let's say, if I'm playing a white and black note. Here, okay? Or, so you can see that there's a forward shift, meaning that the tip of the finger is more elevated. So, with this elevated posture, let's listen to Mozart's Fantasy K475 in C minor. So you could see both hands have a different shape because you see that octave has more raised wrist and honed down knuckles. But here I'm just walking along with my right hand, not staying behind. Now I'm on black notes. I have to get back to the white keys. So that's called a backward shift. So it's like I'm on the second floor. I went back to the first floor. So forward shift and backward shift are in your glossary that's in your book, so you can take a look at all those terms as you go. Haven't talked about distances. So for distances, simply put, the thumb comes along toward the fingers with proper rotational movements. I'll explain what that is. I chose Beethoven's Bagatelle 119, number 9 in A minor, for a certain reason. Because I think, number one, not only is it beautiful and popular, but it's a very good example of all single rotations and how the thumb has to come along. Well, how am I going to know how much or why or whatever? So if I take thumb and 4, I would normally say they're going to cover the perfect fourth. Well, what about in this piece? Well, it's not the perfect fourth, it's the 6th. So with the prep swing, I was able to easily get the distance because it's almost like throwing a frisbee, feeling like freedom. And now you see my thumb is on E. It didn't stay back on C. Watch if it did. I feel locked. So now like my fingers want to be over the 5 keys. So for distances, simply put, the thumb comes along toward the fingers with proper rotational movements. So prep. Okay. As I'm learning it, if I notice where is my thumb anyway? C, A, and E. First inversion. That will simplify also. But you see, when you're moving with a lateral and only feeling like there's no stretch involved, it becomes easy. Now, along the same line, there's another term that I should tell you about that happened in what I just did, the walking hand and arm. So what happened is, because I'm unified, I have to feel that I have down, up, across, and down, up, across. So it's always shaping, and it's always just pulsating in its own little way. In arpeggios, in the Chopin Ballade No. 3, in A flat major, they're measure 28 and 30 have rotation and walking hand and arm requiring this larger distance with the shaping to allow for the thumb to play. First, I'm just going to show you the right hand. So I have 2 Fs, thumb. Height on the 3rd finger, and then turning back. So. And then the same thing again. Notice that as I go, I have height on the 3rd finger, and then I'm always going so fast back to the beginning. And the left hand has the same thing, but slightly different notes. So again, I'm leaning back a little. You can see where my thumb is, where the 3rd finger was. So if I go slowly, height on the long finger, and look at the relationship of the interdependence. Both my thumbs play on two. So it actually feels small in the hand. Now, as a little review, the thumb is played at many points of contact, near the tip, and we saw even further toward the tip for the black. The thumb can move up and down. You can even try it up and down. It can move out laterally, abductor. It can move toward the hand, adductor. And then it can be under the palm with a flexor, and it can be lifting with extensor. It can also make circular motions. Try it. Try circular motions with your other fingers. Not too much fun, okay? But the thumb can. Now, one very important concept that I'm kind of saving, but it's really critical, is to avoid a curled up position, which is going to lock the freedom of your movement and result in uneven passages in rhythm and in tone. Why do we do this kind of curled up position? Really because of our finger length and different heights. So if I didn't have to play with the thumb, then I could see that my 4 fingers love to be on the white sidewalk here. The path is just wonderful, okay? And they can really feel, if you put 4 fingers down, they feel great. It doesn't matter where I am, they feel fun, okay? Fine, okay? So, here's the problem. 2 inches difference or so. So, the thumb is the only finger, not the pinky, but the only finger allowed off the keyboard. So we looked at our different finger heights, and the thumb doesn't feel good if you twist. That's the term that Taubman uses, or deviate over here, okay? Carpal tunnel syndrome. The fingers don't feel good when they go like this, generally tendinitis, okay? So the genius of Dorothy Taubman, in my mind, is the moving of in and out from the elbow to the fingertip. We do it all the time. Oh, I want to get my iPad. Oh, I want to get my phone. It's like you're doing this gesture all the time. But at the piano, somehow want to go toward my thumb or from my thumb out. It just doesn't get synchronized. So what I'm going to do first is examine, the finger lengths are different, and see what I could do to avoid the twist. Silently, I'm going to do 3, 2, 1 in the right hand. You can even do it on your notebook. 3, 2, 1. Now I'm not going to walk in, and the walking in is only that one finger before the thumb. It's like you're walking in. Okay? Now I'm going to play prep swing, single rotations, and the double. Okay? I can just feel the in motion on the second finger. Okay, it feels great. Well, what if I didn't remember to go in? What would it be like? Believe me, I did that before I knew this. I think every pianist has experienced that feeling, and it isn't a great feeling. So we have to always remember that the thumb is going to be off the keyboard, it's allowed, but if I'm going to play, walking slightly in, everybody goes in. Notice my long fingers didn't get locked and scrunchy because they might get like in the way of the black keys. They simply come with it. Or I can do the same motion in the opposite direction. I'm playing the thumb where I like. My longer fingers are just in a natural curve, and then my forearm beginning at the elbow, then back. So, for me, even if I'm going to do, let's say, going to a black note, it just involves a little bit more of that fluid in or out. So if you don't take anything else from this workshop explanation, think about that and try it, because it really, really will give you velocity. Okay? And in chords, the thumb leads the hand. There's so many things that go on, but the thumb is our support. And as we know, it can only go this way. So as I play chords or octaves, it can only keep copying, 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 copying. So we always start with a single rotation. Just like we're people, we start out single. And then it goes to the double rotation if we're continuing in the same direction. So the thumb has to have a sense of holding. If you're learning chords, you might even play octaves first. So I'm going to have a sense here that everything is supported, and I'm going to arrive at the key bed. I'm going beyond the point of escapement or the point of sound, and I feel the flow. Everything is synchronized here. Right hand has to move first. If I try to move them both last time, left hand feels like it doesn't know where to go. So now I notice that my pinky had this C sharp, but wait a minute. My left hand, second finger, stole it. Okay? Both hands are at a different position. In and out, reversed. In and out, reversed. So you say, oh, that's chromatic. But if you see the location, we're talking about velocity and freedom. Okay? So that helps so much. Okay? So when I'm playing, again, I have to move laterally. That's the unit. I turn back from my thumb. I keep going toward the middle of the piano. Left hand to go first. They both play the same. See how fast I leap ahead. Because my thumb is very happy to know where it has to go. Glenn Gould said, "We do not play the piano with our fingers, but with our